So much blood everywhere, hard to clean, especially from a boat. But yours will be quick, I promise. That's a message federal prosecutors say was sent to a Mississippi judge, not a suspect, not a witness, a judge, in the weeks after Nolan Wells' death. This week, the FBI arrested the man they say sent it. This is the first arrest connected to the Nolan Wells case. It's not the arrest most people online have been demanding. It's not connected to how Nolan died. It's about what's happened to the people around this case since. And it's a real, serious warning about where this story has gone. Welcome back to the Black Docket. If you're new here, subscribe and let us know where you're watching from. Federal agents arrested 27-year-old Joseph Alfredo Vasquez Dumarce of Sacramento, California, this week, on a federal charge of interstate transmission of a threatening communication, a charge carrying up to 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. According to the indictment, Dumarce used a Facebook account under the handle Yai962 to send a series of threats to Jackson County Chancery Judge Ashley Cole, the stepmother of Warren Hudson, one of the friends who was with Nolan on Horn Island. One message read, "There will be a package coming to your guy's office. Blood. So much blood everywhere. I got all your info. Not even the FBI can stop this." Other messages reportedly included threats to strangle Cole's sons, sent alongside photos of her children. The FBI's Safe Streets Task Force traced the account's email and IP data to Sacramento, then cross-referenced that against cell phone location data to confirm where Dumarce actually was. One more detail worth including. Dumarce has a prior conviction, a 2018 case involving a minor, for which he was released from prison in 2023. That matters because it tells you exactly who's actually been arrested here. Not someone connected to Nolan's case in any real sense, but someone with an unrelated criminal history who allegedly inserted himself into this case's orbit to make threats. This is not an arrest connected to Nolan's death. It's not evidence investigators are closing in on a suspect. It's proof of how serious the harassment around this case has become, serious enough that federal investigators dedicated real resources to identifying and arresting someone over messages, not over anything to do with Horn Island itself. But Dumarce isn't the only person who's had to lawyer up because of this case in the last few days. This case has also generated intense speculation around a man named Bart Edmonston, a name that's circulated because of how it's been interpreted in disputed audio from the emergency call placed that day. Edmonston has now retained his own attorney, Russell Latino, who addressed the speculation directly in a televised interview. Latino disputed the version of the audio circulating most widely online, calling it a doctored transcript paired with enhanced audio, and describing what's happening as a kind of psychological effect, people hearing exactly what they've been told to listen for in garbled sound. He said flatly that people are fabricating claims, and that the real-world consequence is real people now living in genuine fear for their safety. According to Latino, Edmonston's actual role that day was helping drain water off a boat that had reported being in distress, one of more than 20 people across 2 boats who all witnessed what he did and didn't do. He also said there are at least 2 credible witnesses who reported seeing Nolan on Horn Island roughly an hour and a half after both boats had already left. This is worth taking seriously as part of the record, not because an attorney's statement settles anything on its own, but because it's exactly the kind of on-record pushback that's been almost entirely absent from this case until now. Cole posted her account publicly. Crump holds press conferences. This is the same category of evidence, a named person, on the record, responding directly to a specific claim. 2 named people now have specific, on-record accounts of Edmonston's actual role that day. That doesn't erase the disputed audio. It means the audio has a documented counter-argument now, which it didn't have a week ago. So who is Judge Cole, and why did she become the target in the first place? Go back to early July. Cole posted publicly for the first time about her stepson Warren's involvement in this case, before any of this had happened to her. She said she and her husband weren't on Horn Island that day, and that no one in her family was trying to impede the investigation. She laid out Warren's account. He last saw Nolan around 3 p.m. The group left around 4:30 when the boat began taking on water from a bilge pump failure, and Nolan made his own decision to stay behind, planning to return later with a different group. She also addressed deactivating her social media. No hidden motive, she said, just weighing transparency as a judge against protecting her family's privacy. 3 days later, she went back online for one reason: to show her followers exactly what she and her family had been sent in response to that first statement. That thread is what ultimately led investigators to Dumarce. In other words, she spoke publicly once to try to bring clarity to her stepson's account. What she got back was a threat specific enough to get someone federally charged. 2 quick updates, both worth knowing. Warren Hudson's father, Cole's husband, has pledged his own $50,000 reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction in Nolan's death, adding to a reward pool that's grown substantially over the past several weeks. And state officials confirmed the original autopsy, conducted July 7th, is complete, though as of this recording, not even Nolan's own family has been allowed to see it. Here's where this actually leaves us. The first arrest in this case has happened, and it's not the one most people following this story have been demanding. It's a federal threats case against someone with no real connection to what happened to Nolan, arrested because the harassment around this case escalated to the point where the FBI had to step in. Meanwhile, the disputed audio that's driven so much of the public theorizing now has a documented, on-record counter-argument attached to it for the first time. And a judge who spoke publicly one time, trying to add clarity, ended up needing federal protection for her own children. No cause of death has been confirmed. No charges have been filed in connection with Nolan's death itself. What's provably escalating is the danger to the people caught in this case's orbit. And if that pattern continues, Dumarce may not be the last arrest this case produces before the one everyone's actually waiting for. We'll keep covering this as it's actually confirmed. Subscribe if you want to be here for the next update.